Well, hello again, sports bettors. It's Jonathan here from the School of Bets. And in this video, we're going to take a look at points betting. I'm going to tell you all about it and teach you a couple of ways to make it work for you. So what is points betting? Points betting is brought to you by the PointsBet Sportsbook. Now they offer a product called points betting, which is a form of spread betting. Spread betting is a riskier form of betting that works on binary markets. So you're looking at things like game totals, the point spread, passing yards, rushing yards, touchdowns. If it's in the NBA, it might be points, assists, rebounds. There's often over 100 points betting markets available on any one single game. And that's what makes it so good. It's high risk, high reward betting. It's a lot of fun and you can enter there with low stakes. Now, a key thing you need to know about points betting is that when you look at an over and under line, there will actually be a spread or a gap between the upper and bottom threshold of that line. Now, that's different to the normal point spread in where the line is at one single point and usually using a half point to decipher between the over and the under, or the handicap if it's the point spread, obviously. But in points betting, that spread exists there. Now it's not really that relevant to you in terms of the fact that if something lands in the middle, then both the over and under lose. But what it does mean is the line that you're betting at, say for the unders, has moved slightly lower than what it probably is in the standard fixed price points over and under betting that occurs away from points betting. So it's the same to the over. There's just a little margin there above that normal line. So you do need to be very confident about the bet you're placing. But of course, the carrot there is the more right you are, the more you get paid. So here's an example. Let's say you bet $20 on a favorite, a 3-point favorite in the NFL. So if they win by 3 points, you win. Now, you bet $20 on them and they actually go on to win by 7 points. So they didn't just win by 3, they won by 7, which is 4 more points than the original handicap line. You will get paid 4 times your stake because you were right by 4 points more than the line. Now that's exciting. The flip side to that is, if that same team was to lose by 2, you would lose 2 times your stake because you were wrong by 2 points below that original handicap line. So points betting sounds a little bit like betting the points spread, but it's not. The name sounds similar and we're talking about a similar way of setting a handicap, but it's totally different. It's actually much more risky. And so you need to know, is it for you based on your risk tolerance? If you feel like you have a high risk tolerance, as in you don't mind feeling the ups and downs and the emotional roller coaster that comes with highly volatile markets, then points betting's for you. However, the level of risk you're taking on does vary depending on the market. For instance, you look at the NFL and you've got over and under points totals, and let's say there's a line installed at 45 points. Now a 10% variance on that is around 5 points, 4.5 to 5 points. And so you might be down, if you're 10% wrong, you might be down 5 times your stake. If you're 10% right, you'll be up 5 times your stake. Now, imagine you then did the same on the NBA where you're looking at, say, a total of around 220. If you're 10% wrong there, you're 22 points wrong. And so therefore, the level of risk you're taking on, the multiplier that's going to be attributed to either you're winning or you're losing, just with the same percentage variance, actually can be significantly more or significantly less in relation to your stake and how much you win and lose. So you need to be aware of that. So here's 3 reasons why you should try points betting. The first one is there's an entry point for all bettors. And it just goes back to our previous point about there being varying levels of risk depending on the sport and the market you choose within that sport. But you can also change that risk by just making sure you keep your staking kind of small. I wouldn't be betting a full bet unit that you normally bet on just a fixed price money line market or point spread market. I would be looking to reduce that bet size down because you're considering there's the volatile market. So your risk reward ratio still stays at that point that you're kind of happy with, depending on your risk tolerance, of course. But points betting, there's an entry point for all bettors. So even if you think it's not for you, there actually is opportunities for it to work for you. And it is so much fun. It is so much fun to be watching a game right to that very end, particularly if you're betting on, say, a points, over and under totals, points market, and you know that a late touchdown or conceding a field goal late or something like that is going to just could swing you from a losing bet to a winning bet or the other way. It really keeps you on your toes. It is bang for your buck as far as entertainment, and there's an entry point for all bettors. Second reason you got to try points betting is there's a stop loss available to manage your risk. Now, the good folk at PointsBet have built in this feature where you can actually place, when you place the bet, a stop loss. Now, it's not on all markets, but it's on the main ones, like the point spread handicap line. And so you can actually say, well, look, I know it's a volatile market, or I know I could potentially lose quite a bit of money, but I'm going to have a stop loss there at, say, times 10. And so that way you cannot lose any more than times 10 your bet, but you can also not win any more than times 10 your bets. But what you're doing is bringing the parameters in as to the amount you can win and lose, which kind of restricts or reduces the amount of risk, or minimizes your exposure to risk, which is really important if you don't quite have that same risk tolerance as someone else. The third reason you got to be betting with PointsBet is that it allows you to narrow your focus. Now, I want to use an example here of parlay betting. If you're going to bet points betting, you're looking for that higher risk and then higher reward, so bigger payout. I mean, I think that's the reason most people would take on points betting. That actually mirrors the thinking around parlay betting in a lot of cases. People will look to throw together 3 and 4 leg parlays, and they're often throwing in a couple of legs into the parlay that they haven't quite done their due diligence on, just to boost the odds, because they're looking for a big return. Now, you can access that same level of return in points betting without having to spread your analysis across too many legs. You can just focus on one thing, narrow your focus, get to know it, do your due diligence, and still access that potential for a big return. So that's why I like points betting. I think that narrowing your focus allows you to concentrate more. You actually will increase your chance of success by being more focused and more pinpoint about the way you bet. So guys, that's points betting. I really recommend you check it out with PointsBet, and I recommend you just check out PointsBet in its own right. But this feature of points betting makes having an account with them an absolute necessity. So you can also get over to School of Bets for all of that other sports betting wisdom that's just not that common. So that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm Jonathan, and I'm going to see you next time on the School of Bets.